and the consequences of what's going to happen to them if they don't do what you tell them to do. It talks about discipline for the willful disobedience and the defiance that these kids have in them. The goal is to teach them that there is suffering involved. If you're going to do wrong, there's a little bit of suffering involved, because a lot of people think they can talk to their kids and calm them down and do this and do that, whatever, discipline them that way. In some cases, you might can do that, but it says there's a rod of correction you should use in the Bible, which means spankings, which means the discipline you got to take. If you got to take something away from them, spankings, whatever. But the rod is talking about a physical discipline. It ain't talking about just talking. And I looked at this thing because I know a lot of people don't want to whip their kids. Hey, I wish my mom would have thought that. I got beat to death when I was coming up. But it keeps them from forming attitudes later that will bring them to ruin or to death. And bring them to humility and bring you to humility. I've seen it happen. I've seen it happen in my family. I was bringing my mother to shame for a long time. I really was. But a godly discipline will make a family peaceful and happy. Proverbs 19:18 says, what does it say? Oh, it says, chasten thy son while there is still hope, and let not thy soul spare for his crying. And what that's saying is, when it says chasten thy son while there is still hope, that means while he is young. While they are young, you can still mold them and teach them. You get a kid who's adopted at the age of 13, it's hard to teach them anything. It's hard to instill anything in them because they're already set in their ways. But when they're young, you can instill that in them. While there is hope, you can still instill these things in your child. The opportunity for these kids are going to be very good to be good citizens if you teach them early. It says, I was looking in some of the, what my Bible says about it, and it says, teach them while there's opportunity to mold their lives to good and to teach them godly ways. Let not thy soul spare for his crying. I looked into that. Don't worry about them crying. Don't worry about them crying when you are disciplining them, because you've got to do it. Don't feel bad for doing it. Don't feel guilty because you disciplined your child. That's your child. You're borrowing that child from God. It's God's child. You're just borrowing that child for a little bit. Proverbs 22:15 says, foolishness is bound in the heart of a child, but the rod of correction shall drive it far from him. So that's just saying that children are born with this instinct to be bad. They're going to do mischievous things. They're going to do those things. And there's, the way you take it out of them is the rod of correction. It says that right there in the Word. I'm not trying to be violent or mean or whatever, but that's what it says in the Word. The rod of correction. Not enough people use that anymore. People think that it's cruel and unusual. Well, we live in a crazy world. We live in a world that don't believe in that Bible anymore. They don't believe the things in there. They don't believe there's any rules in that Bible, but they can do what they want to do. And their kids are going to be just fine. Nah. It says right there in the Word, your kids ain't going to be fine if you don't do something about it. See, Proverbs 23:13 says, withhold not correction from your son. Let me see. Hold not correction from your son, because if thou beatest him with the rod, he shall not die. So, you ain't going to kill him. That's what it's saying. You're not going to kill him. 23:14 says, thou shalt beat him with the rod and shalt deliver his soul from hell. You're going to deliver your child's soul from hell if you discipline them, if you use that rod. If you don't use that rod, your kid's going to be crazy. They're going to be outrageous. They're going to be hard to handle. They're going to be untamed. So discipline your child. Proverbs 29:15 says, the rod and reproof give wisdom, but a child left to himself bringeth his mother to shame. I mean, that's pretty self-explanatory. You leave a child alone all the time, every day, and they're going to get into things. Because what does it say? Idle hands is the devil's workshop. That's true. That's a good saying. Because it is. Because you leave a kid at home every day, what do you think is going to happen? You think they're going to read the Bible? You think they're going to go to church? They're going to go out with the buddies and paint some buildings or bust some car windows or something. They're going to get into something. The Lord's telling you these things in the Word, so, I mean, if you think they ain't true, don't blame me. Better blame Him. So it says, children who are not trained, disciplined, or restrained by their parents will later bring shame to them and harm to themselves. And it says, too, to always explain why you're whipping your child or why you had to do it. Explain to them, this is why I'm correcting you, because you're wrong. I'm trying to teach you something. It's not that I hate you. I'm trying to teach you something. Proverbs 29:17 says, correct thy son, and he shall give thee rest. Yea, he shall be a delight unto thy soul. Which is saying, if you correct this kid, one day he's going to grow up and he's going to make you proud of him, proud of what they've done. Not a proud spirit as, a sin, but just you're excited about what they've become because they're a good kid. Because you have disciplined them. You have used the rod of correction. You have done the things you should do, and now they're making you happy. It looks good to see your son. He has a great job, and he's doing well, got a good family, going to church. And that's a good feeling as a parent, I'm sure. I don't know yet. I mean, I got a son that's 23, and I'm proud of him, but he don't have a family, and he don't have a good job yet. He's still making his way, but he's good. He's a good kid, and I'm proud of who he is. And he makes mistakes. Don't get me wrong. He makes mistakes. He's made quite a few of them, and I made a ton. But I'm not saying it's right for him to make any because I made them, but I'm trying to tell him, look, man, don't go down the same road I did. Don't try to be me, because that'd be very bad for you. But, every time I look at my daughter, I can't help but think what a miracle a child is, man. My DNA and Erica's DNA is sitting right there in that little seat, and it's amazing. Through the grace of God, He made her, but He put our DNAs together and there come a child out. That's a symbol of our love. Any child in here, everybody in here is a symbol of somebody's love. Two people made you. There's no person in here that was made by one person alone. There's two people that come together to make you. Children learn quick is what I'm trying to get to, and we really need to protect them as much as we can from this crazy world. We need to show them the love of God. We need to watch what we say and how we say it. The inflection and the tone of our voice can sometimes, a child can remember that. And I have to watch myself sometimes. The first rule is to put God first in everything that you do. If she's got a ball game on a Wednesday night, guess what? She ain't going to go. She ain't going to go. Or a Sunday night. And you might say, oh, we'll see when it happens. You see now. You watch me until then, and I'll promise you she won't go to a ball game on Wednesday night. Oh, I ain't going to hold back my child from playing. I ain't going to not let her play. Well, I ain't going to deprive my child is what I was trying to say. I'm not going to deprive my child either. I ain't going to deprive her from God. See, people have forgotten God is the number one thing we on this planet for. People don't get that anymore. They think it's about them. It's about Him. It ain't about them. Got to forget that part. But, and somebody might say, oh, you say that now. You keep saying that, but I don't believe it. Well, you better believe it. I will stick to my word on that. And, remember your child is God's child first, not your child. No excuses. Had a buddy of mine, I worked with him every day, he said his mother told him one time, said, there ain't no excuse for missing church. She said, you're going to do exactly what you want to do. If you want to go to the beach, you're going to have somebody keep your dogs, you're going to have somebody feed your horses, you're going to have somebody cut your air on and off in your house, but let somebody stump their toe. My wife stumped her toe Thursday. I can't make it today. Really? That's a good one, but I'm going to use that one. I'm too tired. My kids got homework, blah, 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 blah. The list goes on. Hey, man, no excuse. I'm sorry. Ain't no excuse. If you miss church unless you're sick and somebody died or something like that, okay. But I've said that before, and I know people say, well, you think you're holier than thou. No, I don't. I try to do what God asked me to do, man. I try to be here. Sometimes I don't feel like coming to church. I'm not going to lie to you, but I'm here. I try to be here. I try to set an example. You see, one of the last things I want to say is, you got to show respect for your Maker. Show Him that respect and come to church. Matthew 18:20 says, where there are 2 or 3 gathered in my name, there I will be in their midst. in the midst of them. I'm sorry. But people say, I can worship at home. Yeah, you can. But this is your church. We get together. We all worship together, man. It's a whole different feeling when you come to this church. You should want to come to church. And I'm finishing right now. But let me go back to Kensington. You know, she woke up the other day. She was in the darkness. She woke up and she opened her eyes to see the world. We were in the darkness at one time, too, when we wasn't saved. And the church needs to wake up right now and open our eyes and start doing something. A lot of us are sitting back on our sofas every Wednesday night or Sunday evening. Some of them sitting there Sunday morning. And I know I'm preaching to the choir because you're here. But I'm just saying, we got to wake up, church. We got to do something. She ate the other morning. She ate to make her strong and giving her nourishment and energy. That's why she ate. Well, Psalms 34:8 says, "O taste and see that the Lord is good. Blessed is the man that trusteth in him." Which means the church, we got to eat. We got to eat the Word. He gives us the Word. Brother John gives us the Word. Brother Tim, Brother Keith gives us the Word. So this is your cafeteria. Come and eat. Come and eat and learn about God. Kensington was holding on to her father the other day because she felt safe and secure in my arms. She's at peace with me. And she was in the love and protection of my arms. I would fight to the death for that little girl. If somebody ever broke in that house or something ever happened like that, the church needs to hold on to our Father. See, even though I would fight to the death for my daughter, I'm just a mere mortal. I could be killed. I could die. Nobody's going to kill our Father in heaven. Nobody's going to stop him. He's forever protecting and forever loving us. See, he's already defeated death, so he's not going to be killed. He will always protect his children. And I'm going to finish with this. Psalms 23. For the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He maketh me walk in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. He prepares a table before me in the presence of my enemies. He anointeth my head with oil. My cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Dismiss the class.